This is such a great view and music to wake up to this morning. Good morning from Miyajima. Today is going to be my last day on the island. I'm leaving the island today after breakfast, and then I'm going to be heading to Hiroshima to explore the city, and I can't wait for dinner because I'm going to be heading to Kobe to try the famous Kobe Wagyu beef. Anyways, let's start the day off by having our last breakfast here at Iwaso. Breakfast is here, and to start off, today we have a shot of tomato juice. As always, with pretty much every meal I've had here in Japan, we have miso soup. Delightful as always. Now for what looks like a little bit of fried tofu and seaweed. Delicious. That tastes like a traditional Japanese breakfast item. You get a light brininess from the seaweed, and then the tofu has been marinated in a sweet soy sauce. We have more daikon again, and today it looks like it's topped with a little bit of torched miso. That is just such a flavor bomb. Rich, salty, earthy, umami, and they know that they top it with that miso because miso is really healthy since it has a lot of probiotics in it. We also have some sort of fried dish. Oh, that is delicious. That is a deep fried piece of mochi. The rice cake just melts in your mouth and has a really savory flavor. Again, it's been marinated in some sort of soy. I definitely noticed that as a reoccurring theme, and I just love the crispy exterior, which I'm really impressed with because it's floating in some sort of savory broth. And again, we have a side that is super fluffy egg omelet. And again, we have the perfectly golden brown grilled fatty mackerel. The last dish we have I'm really excited about is a little bit of rice, and we're going to pour some dashi broth over it, which is fish stock. And then you top that off with a little bit of eel and wasabi. Let's get a taste of our eel first. This eel definitely tastes like unagi. It's just buttery soft and so rich and fatty, and I think that's because they give you two small pieces since it's to flavor your entire bowl full of rice. And that dashi flavor also has a really nice smokiness to it, which I love eating with the rice. They just brought out the dessert course and it looks incredible. We have the fruit and yogurt again, and this time they gave us another dessert. They gave us some sort of fried donut, and it looks like it's topped with mascarpone and a little bit of red bean. And of course, I also had to get the Hiroshima apple juice because this is probably my last chance to try it, unless I try it later today in Hiroshima. Let's go for the yogurt first. Wow, this yogurt definitely tastes different than the one yesterday. It's a lot milder and it's so smooth and creamy. It definitely tastes like house-made yogurt, so I believe they make it here. Now for a little fried treat, first with the red bean. Oh my god, that one was incredible. That one is just so tasty. It's literally a piece of deep fried mochi, just a deep fried rice cake covered in sweet red bean paste. Oh my gosh, that's the ultimate indulgent treat. I just love the contrast between the crispiness and the really sticky and nice chewiness. And now for a last and final bite with the mascarpone. Just really light and milky and sweet. What a perfect way to end off breakfast, and the perfect way to end off our stay here at Iwaso. We will be leaving our hotel shortly. As I leave Iwaso, I'm so sad to say goodbye, but I can't wait to embark on the next journey of our trip. As we left Iwaso to go back to the port, the staff bid us goodbye. Minutes later, we made it back to the Miyajima port once again, and it was finally time to get on board our ferry to head back to the mainland. Eventually, we made it back to the Sanya line, which would take us to Hiroshima Station.
The next stop is Hiroshima.
After dropping my bags off at the hotel, I was off to lunch. To get to lunch, we used a sightseeing bus, and what was really nice is we got to use our Suica for it. Lunch was gonna be Okonomiyaki, which is one of my favorite Japanese foods, and is a Hiroshima specialty. Our walk to lunch was very scenic, with many shops lining the street. Eventually, I made it to the legendary Okonomimura. Okonomimura is a food hall lined with okonomiyaki shops, and there were so many options, but I just decided to go for the shop closest to the elevator. The process of making okonomiyaki is a literal art form. The chef starts by laying down the batter and then sprinkling some sort of seasoning on top. He then grabs generous handfuls of cabbage before spreading it over the top. Next, he reaches for a generous portion of fried squid, which is part of their signature. Then he placed down a small mound of bean sprouts, and it was already looking like the Mount Fuji of okonomiyaki, just towering high. Then a tiny bit of green onion went on, and fried garlic. Then he put on this fluffy topping, and I found out later it had a really deep umami flavor. At this point, I didn't think he could add any more, but he did. The next topping was thinly sliced pork belly. Then he flipped over our beautiful mountain. Then he carefully flattened the okonomiyaki, and listened to that sizzle. As I was there, the sizzle was making my mouth water because it smelled so good, and actually as I'm editing this video, my mouth is watering just listening to it. Next, he placed it on a bed of thin egg noodles, which are a Hiroshima specialty. In a swift stroke, he cracked an egg on a grill and placed the okonomiyaki on top of it. The next step was critical. The chef spread a thick layer of the sweet and savory signature okonomiyaki sauce on top. Next was a little bit of powdered seaweed for a bit of brininess. Finally, to top it all off, a huge pile of green onions, and I can only imagine how long it took to prepare. They just finished making my okonomiyaki, and what I love is they serve it on the hot grill, so it's always going to be hot. And then to eat it with, you have chopsticks and a little spatula to take it off the hot pan. I ordered their Itsukishima specialty, which is their special here, and I got it with soba because they give you a choice of soba or udon, and it comes with a little bit of pork belly as well as fried squid. My first bite of Hiroshima okonomiyaki. That's incredible. I love the taste of the noodles, the juiciness of the cabbage, the flavor and richness of the sauce. You just get this rich, deep, intense flavor, and just everything all together put in this delicate pancake. I just love all the different layers. Oh, the pork belly is great as well. I love this, such a fatty cut of meat, which goes with this perfectly. And I love the addition of the bean sprouts and green onion, which definitely cuts some of the richness of the pork belly. She also gave me this extra sauce on the side and warned that it is extra spicy, but I'm gonna give it a taste. That sauce definitely has a kick to it. It tastes like the same sauce, just with a nice chili flavor. And yes, you do have to be careful. It can get a bit spicy, but it really adds so much flavor. That is the way to go. I just finished up my food here at Okonomimura. The place I went to was on the 4th floor as soon as you exit the elevators, and all of you should check it out if you're here in Hiroshima. I thought they had amazing service, and the food was also incredible. When the chef of the place made my okonomiyaki, he saw that I was struggling to cut it, and he even hand cut it just for me, which I think was really nice since I was struggling a bit trying to do it one-handed and record this video. So that definitely, I give them an A+ for the service. It is also a bargain because I was able to get 3 okonomiyaki for around 3,300 yen or 23 US dollars. So I think that is great value considering the size of them because it was really filling and more than enough food. Now I'm heading back on a sightseeing bus and we're going to be heading to the Gunbaku Dome or the Atomic Bomb Dome.
The next stop is the Atomic Bomb Dome. Bus stop number 6.
The Atomic Bomb Dome has always been something I've wanted to see, and I think it's something really important, so really, if you're in Japan, I know it's quite far to get to Hiroshima, but you definitely should check it out. Right in front there's a plaque explaining that it's a World Heritage Site. When you're here you can definitely tell it's a memorial because it's so quiet. Looking at the building along with the plaques around it, you can really see how destructive one bomb can be. I'm really glad that I finally got to see the Atomic Bomb Dome, as I've wanted to see it for years, and I'm really glad that I was able to come here and pay my respect. I just finished up my time here at the Atomic Bomb Dome, and now I'm going to be heading back to the hotel to change and then head off to dinner. I just stopped by a Japanese grocery store to get some rice balls for breakfast tomorrow, because when I'm leaving to go to the airport, there's going to be nothing open. I got this one, which is plain and it's made with dashi, which is a fish stock made out of bonito flakes and kombu. Because I'm not able to read Japanese kanji, I was able to use Google Translate in their photo function in order to translate each item. Finally, it was time to see our hotel room. And right here is our room, so let's take a look around. We have one decent sized bed right here, and then a sofa bed next to the window. So let's see what that view looks like. Right outside here, we have a nice view of the city of Hiroshima, and I can see pretty much everything in here. A lot of buildings, and right out in front, you can see the tracks for Hiroshima Station. And because Hiroshima is surrounded by mountains, you have a nice view of the mountains. Right here is the bathroom. We have only one sink here, but look, the area is quite large, so that'll be enough room for just one night. And then in here is our shower, and again, the shower is connected with the bathtub, which I think is actually pretty convenient. And then right inside here is the toilet, and again, it's another fancy Japanese toilet, and I love the door to this because it's sort of this frosted glass. And I'll see you in a couple of minutes to head on a Shinkansen to dinner in Kobe. We just made it to our seat, and it'll be a 1-hour train ride to Kobe. I just made it here to side dining, and I can't wait to begin our meal. I love the layout of the table because there's only 6 seats, so that means it's almost a private table for us. There might be one other person joining us, and then the chef is going to be making the A5 Wagyu on a grill right in front of us. Our appetizer just came out. It's 2 appetizers. We have salmon as well as Kobe beef. So let's just start off with our appetizer 1. This is just some sort of salmon. It almost looks like some sort of sliced up sashimi. That's a great way to start off the meal. Buttery soft salmon that is so fresh, and juicy sweet apples in a creamy dressing. The next appetizer is some sort of Kobe beef. This is roast beef, which is served cold, and it just has such a rich, beefy flavor, and it already tastes more flavorful than your typical roast beef, and it's also really moist. They just brought out corn and potato soup. I love that creaminess that you get from the potatoes. It's really smooth and has such a pleasant texture. It's really nice on the tongue, and it's so sweet because of the fresh corn. You really know that they're using the highest quality corn possible. Seconds later, the Wagyu was brought out, and look at how beautifully marbled it looks. Listen to the sound the Wagyu makes as it hits the grill. It's so satisfying. I noticed that he didn't add any salt directly to the meat as it tends to dry it out, but look at that sear on the outside, it looks so perfectly golden. After the meat was cooked, he poured brandy over it and then lit it on fire, so what a show it was. Finally, he sliced up the Wagyu, and look at how nicely it cuts because it's so tender. The final step was to plate it along with grilled vegetables he made earlier. The chef just finished making the A5 Wagyu. I can't wait for this bite of Kobe beef. I've been waiting so long ever since I booked this restaurant just to try this one bite. I'm gonna have it plain. This is incredible. I love the cut of meat. Because it's sirloin, it's not overly fatty. You get a really nice balance of the rippled fat throughout the meat and then juiciness of it. It's so juicy. And because it's also sirloin, you have such a rich, meaty flavor, and it's ridiculously tender because I had it cooked medium rare. Now I would like to try it with a little bit of salt, as well as fried garlic on top. I think this is gonna be even tastier. You already know that's the way to go. I love the flavor of the Wagyu because it's just enhanced by the salt, and you definitely get that iconic Wagyu taste that's completely different from other beef. You really taste the quality, and the garlic really adds a lot. It's not too strong or overwhelming. It's sliced very thinly, and it just adds a light crispiness and a tiny bit of roasted garlic flavor. They moved us to another table for dessert, and I gotta say it looks incredible. I also got it with a bit of hot tea, but it's this layered dessert. There's all sorts of different things. I see some sort of cake, some sort of sorbet, and maybe cornflakes or something crispy on the bottom. I do not know what that bright pink sorbet is, but it has this really unique, fragrant, fruity flavor that I've never tasted before. It tastes natural too, and it is oh so wonderful. Now let's just go for some of this cake. And yes, it does look like cornflakes are on the bottom, just to add a bit of texture. I love the layers you taste in the cake. On top you have a thin jam layer, which is nice and tart. And right beneath that, you have the rich, creamy cream cheese. And then below that, you have the fluffy cake, and then get a really nice, satisfying crunch from the cornflakes. A really solid dessert to top off an epic meal. This was a great birthday dinner. I couldn't ask for a better dinner on my 18th birthday. I was just so happy with this overall experience. There's really nothing like eating A5 Kobe Wagyu in Japan. It just tastes so much better than what you could get in the United States because it's fresh and it's never frozen. I just made it back to Shin Kobe Station, and I'm looking forward to our journey back to Hiroshima because I was able to reserve tickets for the green car, which is their nicer car, and I haven't been able to take it yet on this trip. The inside of the green car definitely had a fancy feel to it. The seat was very soft and comfortable, and I think the legroom was even better because I had the bulkhead seats, which means there's a little bit more room, and they also provide footrests, which you don't get in the regular blue car. Then it was back on the rails to head back to Hiroshima Station. As the lights of the city faded away, I started to feel really tired because of all that delicious Wagyu, and I just fell into a deep food coma, and although I didn't want to, I immediately fell asleep. What's scary is the only thing that woke me up were the bright city lights of Hiroshima because both of my parents were still asleep. The terrifying reality is that if I continued to sleep and didn't wake up, the train would have gone on to Kagoshima in Kyushu, which is 3 hours down the track, and it would have arrived at 2 AM, and I don't know what I would have done then. I'm finally walking back to the hotel after a great 18th birthday here in Japan. As always, I loved waking up at Iwasa this morning. It was just such a magical experience having breakfast at the ryokan and then eventually heading to Hiroshima for lunch. And I had some amazing okonomiyaki, and then I enjoyed exploring the atomic bomb dome, which I think is really important, and then having dinner just to top it off with A5 Wagyu in Kobe. Tomorrow I'm going to be waking up really early because we have to head to Hiroshima Airport, and I'm going to be flying to Sapporo. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did, give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.